how's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Fake It with us, and he can say his name and what he does in the band.
Hi, my name's Christian Burnett. I play guitar and sing and fake it.
Awesome. Well, this interview is brought to you by courtesy of Jack, my homie, and he's also in the band as well. So, we have a little surprise for you later on, Jack. That I feel like you will be well. So you have to watch the whole thing. So
Yeah.
you're giving me the whole time, as well as you'll get a lovely surprise at the end. But anyway, keeping it back with like the music stuff, obviously what we're all here for. Like, how did you start out Fake It, and I guess how did you get the rest of the members in the band?
Fake It was just me at the start. It was just me writing songs, and I decided to have that be the name. And I put out two songs it's like the end of the summer of 2016.
Okay.
I had just gone on my first tour with a band that I was playing in at the time, and everything fell apart. And I said, "Peace out. I'm gonna do my
Do
own
my
thing
own
now."
thing.
Yeah, because yeah, people are hard to work with.
I get that.
So I just said I'm gonna work by myself, and I put out the two songs, and then I wrote like seven more that ended up being or my first EP that I put out
Hmm.
in 2017, and that was done at an actual studio. And then from there, I played in another band from Sacramento called Ease. It was
Okay.
another emo band, and our bass player from that project, Steve. Um, he was just looking to play in more projects, and I said, "Well, I have this thing that I've been doing, just me. If you want to, play bass on it." And then from there, we had our friend Spencer used to play drums, but he ended up moving up to Portland last April, I want to say,
Okay.
with his wife. So then we enlisted our friend Zach that I met. I toured with another band called Anxious Arms from Sacramento.
Tight. Yeah.
He was the fill-in drummer for that tour, and we got along really well. So he started playing with us when we went on tour, and then we have another drummer for when we play locally. His name's Twan. And just a billion drummers. We got a
Just a
drummer
million
for
drummers, which is usually
yeah,
like never the case for bands. That's
yeah,
like the hardest thing to find. So you were well in luck with that. But and then obviously you enlisted Jack into the band as well. Which, I mean, this is the time for you to roast him. This is the moment
yeah.
right here. So how did you and Jack like link up? I guess.
Jack and I actually met on another tour. It was the first Fake It tour that we did. We were a three-piece at the time. It was just Steven Spencer and I at the time. And Jack was playing guitar in one of the bands that we toured with called Hi Mom.
Yes.
Um, and I met him, and I was like, "This dude's fucking crazy." He, if you've never seen Jack play live,
Oh, I
it's a
have.
spectacle. He's like the sweatiest boy you've ever seen in your life. It's insane. I didn't know a grown man could sweat so much.
Oh
But
yeah.
but after that, because I hated playing as a three-piece, I've always been into bands with two guitars,
I feel
and
that.
like all the songs had two guitars, but I was just playing them by myself, and it was hard. So we talked to Jack afterwards about maybe joining, and he was super on board. So and then we did a tour that summer, and after that, we just finalized everything and said, "All right, you're in it. Good luck."
And then that is the fateful day that he then messaged me and was like, "Yo, try to get Christian on this." And the story begins as probably many months later after the fact. But um, that's really cool, and I also feel like having the whole like drummer situation, that's like a very first for me, like having like somebody that drums locally and then also somebody that goes on tour with you. Like, was that something that you kind of had envisioned from, like, I guess you hadn't envisioned at the first part, but like I guess what I'm not trying to slander either drummer, but like what is like I'm just curious what the purpose is of that, as opposed to maybe just having one like singular drummer to just rock it all. It's
It's
very interesting to me, at least.
it's less that it's two separate purposes. It's more that it's just it was born out of necessity because um, Twan's not really in a position where he can tour with us
Gotcha.
because of his job, and then um, Zach can, but Zach lives in LA, so he can't play with us locally all the time.
There you
So
go.
it's kind of just whoever wants to grab the gig. Like
It's a
that's
catch
who ends up
22.
playing. Yeah. So it's fun too, to be honest, to play with two different drummers because I'm a drummer myself too,
Oh, okay,
and
sick.
it's drums are like one of the most nuanced instruments as far as like how people write and how people perform, I
Yeah,
think,
sure.
and it really changes how songs are interpreted, I think, to have a different drummer play on them.
Yeah, it also brings a different energy. Like if somebody's just like real energetic on the drums, like that just brings that like new level of like fun and experience like at a show. But also like, somebody who's like a little bit more technical, like I feel like that brings out all the like nerd drummers out and they're like have like a notepad out and they're like, wow, look at
Yeah,
this sick polyrhythm at, the 2 minute mark in the song or
yeah,
whatever. But I think it's really cool. I think it's something that I like when you had just said it. I was like, I like, cause I've kind of heard like different things about that, like throughout my years of doing this, but like I've never really come in contact with it. So it's like, I think it's cool. Hopefully it works out for either drummer and, best of luck with that. That sounds really
yeah.
cool. But
We're gonna make them fight to
yeah,
the
fight to
death.
the death. They got like a cage match going on, and then you're gonna get thrown into the mix because you're also a drummer. So whoever makes it out alive is the
Yeah.
real drummer. But my next question, Christian. Obviously, you're local to the West Coast, but what are some favorite venues you guys like to play at or catch a show at when you're home and not doing your normal day job?
Um, you mean just like in Sacramento,
In
favorite venue?
Sacramento, yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm very partial. I've been going to a venue in Sacramento. It's a little DIY spot that's I've been going there since I was probably 16 or 17 years old. Called there's two venues actually. It's Cafe Colonial and then the Colony.
Okay.
And they've been around forever, but they've been under different owners. The guy that owned it when I first started going, his name was Matt. Just really cared about having young bands play, and it
Yeah.
was one of the only all ages spot that got left behind kind of after the early 2000s, and there were more all ages spots around us. There used to be a place called Club Retro in the Underground that were in more suburban like areas past Sacramento.
Okay.
But the cafe and the Colony were like the two places that kind of all DIY music flocked to, and they did all kinds of stuff for the community. Like they had on Tuesday nights, they had video game tournaments and stuff
Oh,
for kids
sick.
after school, and they had really good bar food, and it was one of those places because my background, I grew up in like kind of a rural part of Sacramento, so
I
I
feel
didn't
that.
experience much diversity early on in my life. And then when I got into music in high school, like playing music and going to shows and stuff, um, cafe and the Colony were like kind of my first introductions into like, oh, there's like other people with other interests and like other backgrounds and stuff that I can't even understand because I just
Yeah.
had never seen it before. So it was super intimidating when I first started going there, but after years of going there, it's like I knew everyone. I felt like I was friends with everyone. It was a place to go and enjoy my night and like unwind. When I was doing my undergrad, I would go there and write papers at the bar and have a beer and talk to my friend Anna that worked at the bar and
Oh,
like
sick.
listen to the bands and play in the other room and stuff. So it's really near and dear to my heart. A lot of people would probably argue that it's not like a great venue. It's not like professional sound.
I feel that.
But it is fun, and I really respect what it did for the community. It just opened back up. They closed it back in October. We played the last show there, and then it got bought out by the owners of another venue in
Oh,
like
okay.
December probably, and they just opened it back up a couple months ago. So it's getting back up on its feet, and I'm really happy to see that because it was really important to me, and I hope it's important to like younger kids that are still coming up and getting into it.
Yeah, yeah, and I respect you for like continuing to do that and support that sort of thing because very similarly I grew up in rural New Jersey, so like, I also like a lot of my, like, I guess awakening points was going to shows, especially when I was like able to drive, like when I was of the age of driving and could go like, into the Philly or whatever and go see
Yeah,
shows and stuff. So, I feel like there's a lot of similarities in terms of like growing up and stuff, and like finding that like mentality of like going to shows and being like, wow, there's other people that like the same music as me. That's really
yeah,
cool. And like, how do I like get to like be involved in this sort of community and stuff? And so, and obviously now I'm doing this thing, so I feel like well in tune with like what's going on. But I know that like being a part of a community like that is like so crucial, and I'm glad that you're still supporting those like smaller bands that like kids that are growing up and doing stuff, and like hopefully you'll be out there playing shows there again, I assume. But I also can respect a lot of what you were saying about like fostering that like growing community and like growing music and stuff. And I know that's a lot of the reasons why when I have people on, like that's what we bond over, obviously, and that's a
yeah,
big portion of our life. So it's good to hear that. And it's well, hopefully the Sacramento scene continues to do things. So like how do you feel like I guess it's obvious left a big mark on you, but was like the rest of your band? I mean, obviously you can't speak for them, but do you feel like that they all kind of grew up in the same area, like you all kind of like met in the same sort of group, or was it more like everybody else had their own thing? Because obviously, like you said, one of your drummers is in like LA, and the other one kind of does more
yeah.
local stuff.
So I actually met our bass player Steve at a show at the Colony. It was the first time I
Oh,
met him,
sick.
um, and that's how I met him. And then uh, Jack, I didn't meet until about uh, a year ago.
Okay.
So once because when he moved from Jersey, I think he moved to Chico first, and then
Correct.
he
Yeah.
just moved to Sacramento like a year ago. So, um, but he goes to shows out there all the time. He's super involved in going and seeing all the bands that play at like Diver and the Boardwalk and
Yeah.
places like that. Um, and then Zach, yeah, Zach I met through people that were also involved in Sacramento and from playing outside shows. I think Zach contacted Anxious Arms after we played a show in San Luis Obispo. I can't remember exactly what happened with that, but
It's all
it was
right.
some weird web of people that knew each other, and then
Yeah.
like he saw they were looking for a drummer for that tour and talked to them. But I think it's all important to us. I mean, no community is perfect, and like
Yeah.
Sacramento's had its
Sure.
fair share of like shitheads and
Yeah.
cliques, and um, I think it's getting better. I would say it was kind of on like a downward spiral, and now I think it's getting better again. But I mean, that stuff's always there. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah, yeah, I also feel that same way. Like, there's definitely certain things that I had felt about, Philly, but also like I think it's such a large community that it's, I mean, obviously being a very, prominent city in terms of just like musical diversity, musical genres and stuff. I feel like I found my home there, and also like in some spots in New Jersey as well, like Asbury Park's like a big one.
Yeah,
But I have to respect that, even if it's not at its peak performance, that you're still pushing for that Sacramento story, and like obviously very representational of the Sacramento area, and like trying to grow and like again foster that scene. It's really cool, and hopefully people notice it. And obviously you say it's on the upward climb, so hopefully it keeps going that direction, and people come out to shows. But uh kind of in the on the lines of the venues that we were just talking about, what was the last show that you attended that you didn't play? I know you got a busy life, so it's it's probably
and
hard to find time in between. But
yeah, life's been crazy the past like 2 or 3 months because I'm actually a poser now because I don't live in Sacramento right now. I live in Vacaville
oh,
currently. So yeah, Vacaville. But what was the last show I went to that I didn't play? Oh my God, it was, oh no, it was last Saturday. I found this guy. I got like a promoted ad for this singer-songwriter guy on Facebook named Cataldo is the name of the
Okay.
project, I think. He's from Seattle, but it's like folk rock, power pop type stuff. It's
Interesting.
like
Okay.
singer-songwriter based. It's really good. He just put out an album last Friday, or no, 2 Fridays ago now. I saw him play in Davis with my partner Shay, and we went with her friend Luciano, and yeah, it was fun. I just started teaching though, so like my ability
Your
to stay
schedule
out late
was.
now is getting very small.
Yeah.
It's becoming very narrow. So we actually we stayed. We didn't stay for the whole show, which is bad. I shouldn't say that.
It's okay. I
Dude, it
like.
hit like 11 o'clock, and I was like,
You're
I
like,
gotta wake up, and I'm tired, and we gotta drive 45 minutes back.
oof. I got you. I know
There
that
was a
feeling.
tornado that night too. There was a
Oh
tornado
really?
in
Oh
Davis that
wow.
night. Yeah, which never happens over here. So it was a strange night.
It was a very strange night, but I mean, I get it. Like sometimes it's like, and I feel like people are afraid to like admit they're like, man, like why did you stay for the whole show, man? Like why didn't you do that? That's not cool of you, man. And I'm like, you know what? Listen, like if it paid for me to like pay the bills, like I would stay later, you know. But sometimes it's just like something that pays your bills and allows you to live in an apartment or whatever or where a house or something like that, like you have to keep the lights on sometimes. So I
Yeah,
totally get it. So I feel like people get an undue amount of hate for like not staying at the show, especially more like I feel like DIY like punk shows. They're just like, yo man, why don't you just stay for the rest of the show? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to be a responsible adult, so like
yeah,
uh let me pay my bills and I will see you at the next show. But I definitely I could respect that a lot. So I feel like
yeah. And
people
you
get
never
a
know
lot of
what's
hate
going
for
on
it.
in other people's lives too.
Exactly.
You can't just assume that they're being shitheads. I mean, yeah, people have shit going on. They can't be there for every second of everything, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, well there we go. The next thing, Christian, the big old one. Tell me about like some of your musical influences and I guess like the overarching like bands that I feel like you draw from for Fake It.
A big one. So when I first started, the big one was like Into It Over It,
Nice. Yeah.
and Death Cab and Third Eye Blind.
Ooh, okay. Wow,
Yeah,
what a collection.
yeah, big Third Eye Blind fan on the down low. But after I put out that first EP, I kind of started revisiting stuff from when I was younger, really diving in deep again to Death Cab and Pedro the Lion, and then I was finding bands like Elder Brother,
Yeah.
uh, Slaughter Beach Dog, Wilco,
Yeah, Wilco's great.
All Get Out. What else? A lot more just like rock stuff. Before it was like I was like emo's the shit. I love emo. Now it's just like I I honestly there's like 3 or 4 good emo bands that I really like, but most of the time I'm like I'm a grown man now. Like I can't listen to someone talk about like
A breakup.
yeah breakup. I just there's a lot more at stake that now than there used to be, I guess, for me. So hearing about that's just it's super trite, and I don't know. I don't connect with it anymore the way I used to. So Tom
That's
Petty was another big one that I started getting back into that I really loved when I was a kid. But yeah, stuff like that. Those are the
I
big ones.
respect that. I respect that emo answer, I kind of feel the same way in some respects, like, I feel like you're like, you know, you're a grown adult, like maybe you shouldn't be crying about certain things, but I get it cuz it's all about that sad vibe sometimes,
Yeah,
um but yeah, like and I also feel like, a lot of the bands that came and went a little bit. Like obviously, like My Chem is one that I can think of like off the top of my head that is just like super into. I mean, I still love their records. Like I don't think I'll
yeah,
ever get over how much I love them. But like, I feel like kind of a comparison to like, similarly to how I do stuff too is like, there's stuff that you can like. I feel like there's like a level of lyricism where you're like you want to grow past that, like, as like an individual you're like you just can't be sad for your entire life. I mean, as much
hmm
as you probably may or may not want to depending upon like where you're at in life, but I also feel like, there's if you have like a lot of sad music, you should balance it out with some like happy shit that you enjoy, and just not
Yeah.
feel like terrible about yourself all the time. So, I respect that answer basically.
I also think part of it too is, and not to be like the English major guy, but I finished undergrad after, or right before, finished undergrad in 2018,
Okay.
and I studied English in college, and I just through like poetry and just really diving deep into some of the better authors in like history, realizing that there's I think maybe not a more effective way, but a more engaging way to explore those same emotions without maybe overtly saying like I feel sad, like
Yeah. Yeah.
able to paint this picture of something that makes the listener or the reader feel that way, but you're not saying I feel
Exactly
sad.
that. Yeah.
You know, there's a more and I think that's more creatively like liberating to be able to paint that picture and evoke those emotions without like telling someone to feel that way.
Yeah.
And my favorite records that have come out the past few years, I think, do that really well, and I think that's kind of the direction we and I specifically have headed with how we approach things.
Yeah, like what I guess my next kind of follow up to that, like what were some of those records that kind of like defined you as like, I guess your lyrical like awakening of like I need to try to like further myself as like a writer, like a developer of like the English language, I guess in some sense, like what made you want to kind of like we were saying, not just say like I'm sad, but like still have that emotional aspect of like I feel sadness, but I don't. But obviously, it's not explained in that like very like cut and dry sort of way. It's like very thoughtful, provocative. Like I think that's really cool, and not to kind of tangent a little bit, but like lyricists that I love, like Garrett from Silent Planet, rings
Hmm.
true to me, and like obviously like Micah Kennard from O Sleeper is another fantastic like lyricist. So like I guess who inspired you to kind of like take more of a like thoughtful approach to how you like do your lyricism, I guess.
Again, like David Bazan from Page of the Lion is a really big one for me, especially um, like his whole thing is he came from a religious background, grew up in that, and
Mm-hmm.
then have realized that he didn't really connect with that anymore. And I have a similar kind of story, except I didn't grow up in like a religious family. I kind of found it because of a really close friend that I had growing up. His family started taking me, and so it became part of my life. And so there was always this conflict growing up of like all the guilt and stuff that you're told to feel for the things you do.
Yeah.
I grew up, I went to a Christian church, so like the idea of sin and what is considered sin within the Christian church, a lot of that conflict. So I really connected with David's stuff because I feel like he approached that really like that kind of stuff really tactfully,
Mm-hmm.
and it was even before I had left the church. Um, I felt like I really connected with his music, and I didn't know why. I just had a friend that showed me one of his records, and I was like, "Wow, this really, I really connect with this for some reason, but I don't know why because I'm 16 at the time." And so when I revisit it, uh, 2 or 3 years ago, and start diving into it as an adult, realizing why I connected to it, and I had left the church shortly after that, or shortly before that. So it was like a part of this healing process. So realizing that you have the ability to, I guess, deal with conflict and things that you're feeling through this creative process, I guess, of like
Mm-hmm.
storytelling and um, really exploring why you're feeling the things you're feeling and using it almost as like a vehicle to solve a problem instead of just like I'm going to write a song that people enjoy. It's the songs that I'm writing are really for me to sort through the things I'm going through at the time or
Yeah.
feeling, or as an exercise to try and explore what other people might be feeling or thinking and dealing with. And yeah, so David Bazan was a big one, and then like Slaughter Beach Dog, Jake Ewald from Modern Baseball has that new project, and I think he honestly is like one of the better songwriters of our generation, and I think he's kind of just like slid under the radar as
There you
far
go.
as just being able to, because all his albums are just about this fictional town that he's created and all these characters and how they interact with each other, and it's just done so low key that you don't even realize it's happening because the songs are already so good. So you don't really need to dig any deeper, but if you want to, it's there. So I
Yeah,
think
sure.
that's another really important thing that because I feel like there are a lot of bands that do conceptual stuff like that and storytelling that they kind of rely heavily on the storytelling part of it, and the
Yeah,
songs maybe don't hold their own when listened to, isolated
yeah.
one at a time or by themselves. So I think being able to do both is really important, at least for me.
No, I would happen to agree with that, and I similarly in the same kind of vein as what you went through, and obviously before we met and before we chatted, I saw that post about like about Christianity and stuff like that on the page, and um something inside of me was like, wow, that rings true to how I feel about certain things, religiously. And my family is, mainly Christian and, pretty religious too. So, I when I was reading it, I was like, wow, this seems so like real to like how I have lived, for the past couple years, like living on my own and stuff, um and just kind of like I guess after after college and stuff, or during college and stuff like that, that's when I started to realize like, maybe there's just something bigger to the whole thing rather than just like, one specific thing where you're just like where you're taught to believe it. And like, I grew up listening to, going to church and listening to preachers preach, for, however long. But um, it's crazy to me. Like, I guess I think it's kind of ironic and funny in certain ways of like that, I think that the way that has pushed some people away is just like how music has kind of filled that slot of like, in people's lives of like, wow, I don't know what to do. But then there's like so many artists that like I'll find and be like, wow, I relate so much to this as like, as not only a human but also like musically it has maybe that just a little bit more of a like emotional hit than I feel like if somebody else that maybe didn't experience it could understand. So when you were saying that stuff and when I was listening to like some of the Fake It stuff before I hopped on with you, I was like, it definitely came from a place like I was just like I could feel the emotions kind of running because I was like, wow, this is like pretty eerily similar to like what goes on and how I feel about certain things. So, I knew eventually we were going to talk about it and get into the conversation, but like I was really, that was something that kind of like immediately when like I saw that I was like, wow, it's just wild how that is and how it was like I guess thought out and how like how I interpret it as like you know similar to how I envision stuff and how I grew up in like similar situations. And so it definitely struck a chord with me for sure. So I just wanted to say thanks for that. But um it just it's cool that music you can relate to people's lives and just like how they speak lyrically to somebody, as opposed to just like because people just think like I always, and my mom tells me this all the time, she's just like, I don't understand like what they're saying, like if it's like a heavier band that like screams and stuff, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I don't get it, like it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, well, I'm like, lyrically it's powerful, but I think just with like the backing of just like that raw emotion that you feel about something, I think that can be like not replaced with something with like if you sang it, you know what I mean? There's just that
Oh,
energy
yeah,
behind
definitely.
it. So
Yeah.
not to go on that long tangent, Christian, but I felt like it
No,
was a
go
little bit
off.
a little in order to talk about.
Yeah.
uh, but that was cool, definitely. It was a powerful thing, so I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit in kind of tangent. But my next question, Christian, kind of reeling it back in as I had mentioned before, who have you been jamming recently? What's on your Spotify? What have you been listening to lately?
Well, here I'll do you this.
Do you solid. You're gonna look it up.
Yeah,
There you
because
go.
I've so the aux cable in my car broke, so I've been listening to a lot of
Oh.
NPR actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So um, let's see here what's on my recent.
There we go.
I've been listening to Tycho,
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
that new Somos record.
Okay. Cool.
Slaughter Beach Dog, the new Whitney album's really good. Uh, the new All Get Out album that came out this year is really
Yep.
good. The new Knocked Loose album.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
The new Oso Oso is super good.
Yes. Yeah.
Touche just redid or re-released To the Beat of a Dead Horse. I've been listening to that. Uh, there's this, I forgot where she's from. Her name's Esther Rose. She's a country artist.
Okay.
She just put out a new album that's really good. And then I've
Interesting.
been listening to uh, Cheer by Drug Church.
Okay. Yeah. They're great. Underrated.
Yeah, that album was like, how did I not hear about this when it came out? Because this is like everything I've ever looked for in a band like that.
They kind of like slipped under the radar. Like I had gotten I had gotten an email about them like a while ago, and I was just like, I know when certain stuff's like up my alley, and I was just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not into it. Like maybe it's just not the right time or whatever. And then like recently, I went back to listen to it, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. I was like such an idiot for like just being like passing it off as like something I didn't like, but it's tight. So definitely Jug Church.
Yeah.
Go check them out. But my next question, Christian, a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Uh, uh, I was just fucking with him the other day and saying I was gonna cover a song as a joke. God, we were talking about doing a Halloween cover show, and I really want to do be a Third Eye Blind cover band.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Just play that first self-titled album. Uh, what song? I'm always thinking of songs that I want to cover, and then I never do it.
Well,
I did
now
a
it's
cover.
well now it's on the internet, so I feel like if you do say something, it is there forever, and then people can hold it over your head. So I only know that from a personal experience on doing this internet thing for the past almost 4 years. So I would choose your words carefully if I were you.
Yeah, God, let me look. I gotta. Hmm.
Get some inspiration.
Oh, I really wanted to cover that song "Charisma" by Pianos Become the Teeth.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, either that one or what was the other song? I can't remember. We were talking about it a lot on this last tour we did this summer about songs that we could cover. Oh, I think it was a Taking Back Sunday song
Okay, okay, okay.
off of New Again.
Ooh, interesting. All right,
Carpathia, I think.
he's gonna look it up. The magics of the internet.
Yeah.
We're zeroing in on the answer.
Oh, yeah. Capital M-E by Taking Back Sunday. It's off that album New Again.
You were close. In the ballpark.
That was close. Yeah.
Awesome. Next question, Christian. Another fun one as well. Favorite food to eat? What's the go-to Christian meal?
No. I really like pasta. I just ate like a whole pot pie this past week.
A whole
My
one?
parents came to a whole, yeah, like a big pot pie. It's
Oh,
like
damn.
I could
Just
show you
you
the
ate
picture.
it.
It's
Just you
still in
ate
my
it.
fridge.
Oh my god.
Me and my partner ate it, but
Okay.
like I ate
I
a
was
lot of
like,
it.
I thought you were like, like guarding it in the like. It's just like this is Christian's pot pie, only for Christian.
Yeah.
Only can be
Oh, and
consumed by Christian.
another one that I've gotten into lately, but I'm trying not to eat it anymore because it destroys my stomach. Is we get this? this spicy ramen that's just like too hot. Like it's not good for your intestines,
Oh, yeah, don't remind me.
but it tastes so good. So I'd say either those two. I don't know, pot pie or
Pot pie or
spicy ramen.
intestine burning ramen. Wow, that's
Yeah,
quite a like if we're talking about maps here, we're like pot pie is like in the chill zone, and then you got like fucking kill
you're
you
gonna die.
hot like
Yeah,
ramen. So I like that. That's two opposite ends of the spectrum. All that's all I'm
yeah.
talking about. Definitely sick. Next question, Christian. Keeping it back with the music stuff, if you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest vocalist on your next record or a producer you would like to work with in the future, who would it be?
Oh, another favorite of mine, John Vanderslice with
Okay, cool.
Tiny Telephone Studio in San Francisco. I'd love to do an album with him, or Jay Moss from Defeater.
Yes.
I really like his work, and he has been talking about moving to Portland, so that might actually be a reality, hopefully at some point. But to be honest with you, the guy that we did the last album, The Family Name, with, our friend Josh, he is like, honest to God, one of the best people I've ever worked with. Like, his studio is like, you can kind of see the room behind me. It's like a little bit bigger than this,
Oh wow.
and he just like is so good at what he does that it doesn't even matter where he's at. Like, we tracked all the drums for that in my parents' garage, and then
That's wild.
we did vocals in his tiny bedroom and guitars and stuff. And um, he just he's very knowledgeable, and I feel like he knows how to make bands sound like themselves and not just like another band, which is really important to me. And yeah, I'd honestly do several more records with him again. Joshua Unit, very good, very nice boy. He'll make you drink coffee the entire time you're there, and you'll have an anxiety attack because you've had so much coffee. It's beautiful and terrible at the same time.
Oh, that sounds like the biggest dichotomy I've ever heard of. So I don't know if I want to experience that, but Josh, I know you're also in Wolf and Bear, so I'll give him a shout out for that because they're fantastic. And Josh, if you want to come on, or Wolf and Bear, slide into those DMs. I'd love to have you
Yeah,
guys on.
he's a
But
silly boy.
he seems like it. So Josh, come on, my dude. But anyway, next question, Christian. If there was, obviously you do vocals, you play guitar, but if there was another musical instrument that you could add to your arsenal to master, what would it be?
Well, I just bought a bass off Steve, so I'm gonna start playing bass again. But I really miss playing drums. That was like when I was going through, high school and undergrad, and just anything in my life. I've always had a drum kit set up that I
Hmm.
can play. Like, I'm not very good, but it is a very fun instrument for me to write on, and it's also very it alleviates a lot of stress and anxiety for me to play. So yeah, I'm looking forward. We're going to be out of this apartment soon, and hopefully find a house where I can have a drum kit again.
There
But
you go. Well, hopefully that happens because I definitely I'm on the front of like learning how to play drums or wanting to play drums, but I also
yeah,
live in like a studio apartment, so I don't have the space for a drum kit. But
yeah,
I'd love to learn because I have no hand feet coordination whatsoever. So anybody out there want to teach me how to play drums? That'd be sick. But your boy can't do it yet. So anyway. Next question, Christian. My personal favorite, because I'm a mega nerd and I love asking this question. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
oh, I've been playing. My brother has a Switch, so when I
Sick.
go to visit my parents, I've been playing the past couple weeks. I've been playing that Link's Awakening remake. So yeah, I'd have to say I'd be like Toon Link or Link in a top-down game, not Breath of the Wild, because that shit's too much. I don't have the ability to play games like that. I can just play like Spyro and like top-down games.
I feel that. Also, I feel like you would be all about this right here. I mean, it lights
Uh,
up, but
Oh shit,
it's just a little rupee.
that's
So
nice.
yeah, I have it in my little like office space here in my apartment. But yeah, so can agree. I'm excited. I still have to pick that up, and I have not bought Breath of the Wild either yet. So I know
Oh,
so many haters are gonna be like, "Yo, man, why haven't you played it yet? Your boy's poor, so I can't afford
yeah.
to buy the game. So if you want to send it to me, that'd be sick. Not to
Help a brother
not
out.
help a brother out. Yeah, I need that in my life. But anyway, next question, Christian. If you could compile a dream tour, who'd be on the lineup?
Oh God.
And this is including your band, just in case you're going to ask that question. I just wanted to jump some
Okay,
guns a little
cool.
bit, you know?
Yeah. Shit. I really want us to tour with there's a band from Salt Lake City called Sunsleeper
Oh, sick, yeah.
that are first of all very nice boys and very good. They just put out a new album and I'm gonna blank on the name, but it's very good. We're hopefully gonna do something soon. I keep bugging their singer Jeffrey to
Just do it,
like, let's
guys.
do something, even
Do
if it's just
it.
California shows.
Wow, that's
Uh,
depressing. Just kidding.
I'd love to tour with them, and I'd love to tour with. Uh, I think my partner's playing the banjo in the living room. I just heard it. Who else? Probably Pedro the Lion, to be honest.
Oh, okay, okay.
That'd be great. I'd love to do a tour with Touche.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay.
we just announced today we're playing with Defeater in December, so that would be
Oh,
another big one. That would be super fun, I think. Um, yeah, I
that'd
don't
be an
know.
interest. That would be a very interesting lineup if that was the case. That would be
Yeah,
that'd be. I feel like Pedro would be a little bit odd, but like it's not my tour, so I could like totally
yeah,
be like, this is sick. So I would be
yeah.
about seeing all that. That'd be awesome. Next question, Christian. Kind of follow up. Obviously, the Dream tour lineup you just had mentioned to us. In your opinion, who puts on a great live performance?
The one I've been most impressed by recently, uh, All Get Out, played a really great show in Sacramento recently, and they just are a band that's you have to see live, I think, to appreciate just like how fucking rock and roll they are. Like, yeah, they're great. I love it. And then we just played with Free Throw in August,
Oh,
and
tight.
Free Throw fucking they bring it. Oh, and it was Chris Farron too. It was Free Throw and Chris Farron.
Yeah, Chris Farron. Yeah.
Also great performer, super fun show. Um, yeah.
That tour was sick. Shoutouts to Youth Fountain. They were also on
Yep,
that.
Youth Fountain's fucking insane. So is
Yeah.
Max Steel. That when I first saw that, I was like, four bands on a tour, like that seems like a lot. And then I was there the whole show, and I was like, this is great. This is everything I could have ever wanted from a show. So
that's awesome. Free
shows how much
throws.
I know.
Yeah, free throws sick. That I've seen them a handful of times too, and they are just nuts. So I love
Yeah,
seeing them. Um, but yeah, I can definitely agree with. I can definitely agree with at least All Get Out and Free Throw. They're two awesome bands that a lot of people should definitely go check out if they haven't already because they're fantastic live bands. But the next question, Christian, keeping it fun again. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
favorite TV show. Hmm. I'm a big fan of New Girl
Yes.
with Max
So
Greenfield,
so
uh,
Deschanel.
Zoe Deschanel. Um, favorite movie? That's a harder one. If I had to just pick one, it changes like every 5 years. What I'd say my favorite movie is. What like my favorite like older movie? I guess the longest one has been The Big Lebowski with
Ooh,
Jeff Bridges.
that's a classic.
That shit's one of the funniest movies ever made.
The
It's just so ridiculous.
dude
But
abides.
I saw Joker last night, and that
Oh, okay.
if you have not seen it yet, I highly recommend.
I
It was heartbreaking in the worst kind of way. It was just very heartbreaking, hard to watch movie.
I'm gonna have to see it. I've heard good things so far.
Yeah,
So I will say I'm a bigger Marvel fan, but I feel like this is I gotta get that out there, just in case people need to confront me on the Marvel DC, debacle. I figure I pick the side of Marvel, but I did see a lot of like people saying this is like one of the best DC films. I mean, I guess quote unquote it isn't, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still excited to see it. It looks fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix is looking to be a Emmy winner and whatever Academy Award. I don't know that shit.
Grammy, Emmy, whatever the
Whatever
fuck it's
Grammy,
called.
every
Yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize, whatever. I don't know. So
Something like that.
something like that. But definitely looks good. So people don't spoil that movie for me in the comments, please. I mean, this is coming out way later than that. So, so anyway, next question, Christian. If you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you, what record would it be?
Okay, I'd like to first, before I answer, um, so I teach high school, and on the first day, I give them, like an about me sheet so I can learn about them and they can,
Sure. Yeah.
I can start to remember faces, to put faces to names. And I put that same question, it was the last one on there. It was like, if you were stuck on a desert island and you had to bring one book, one movie, and a song, what would it be to listen to for the rest of your life? And these jackasses, they go, Mr. Burnett, there's no electricity on this island. And I was like, you know what? Okay, just
Just
why do you have
imagine
to
that you
ruin?
had all the resources for just that to play music or to watch a TV show or a movie or
It's
whatever.
like, why do you have to ruin everything?
I
Why do you
feel
have to be
that.
like that? Yeah.
I'm glad you got that out there as a teacher of the people. So I respect that.
But it was one song, right?
It's one record.
Oh, one record.
Yeah,
Oh,
come on. I'm not making it easy. Song's easy. A
either
record's
the
tough.
first, either the first album, the self-titled album by Boston, or the first self-titled album by Third Eye Blind.
Ooh, I like both choices, but for that nostalgia, that self-titled Boston record, oof, I
Whew.
can hear the melodies in my head right now that I
Yeah.
can't say because I definitely get copyright striked immediately. So, and also I probably sing it out of key anyway, so maybe not. So,
Yeah.
that would be like, but I don't want to ruin Boston for some people, so I'm gonna just push that off to the side and imagine that didn't
Yeah.
happen. But the
Okay.
last thing, the most important thing, Christian, tell them about your band Fake It, where they can find you at on the social media game and anything else coming up in the next couple months.
For Facebook, it's is it forward slash or
I think it's
backslash?
backslash. It's okay.
Backslash fake it ca, and then Instagram and Twitter is fake it 916. We're on all three of those. We're on Spotify, iTunes, everything, all across the board. Anywhere you want to listen, anywhere you want to buy music. Uh, Check out our label, Sunday Drive Records. They're based out of San Antonio, Texas. Lots of good bands, lots of good people a part of that. Um, for right now, I'm trying to learn how to become a teacher and also teach at the same time and try to be an adult that eats enough every day.
I feel that.
So right now, all we have lined up is we're playing with Defeater December 9th at Holy Diver in Sacramento, California. And we just put a record out in August called The Family Name. You can find it across anything. Buy it, listen to it, show your grandma, show your mom. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, now it's the time to talk about Jack, of course.
Yes,
Shout outs to Jack. I love that dude.
you sweaty motherfucker.
See this whole time you thought I was gonna talk shit about you, and I'm not. So joke's on you. I'm too nice of a guy to talk shit about my boy Jack. Love that dude. And I'm so glad he's a part of Fake It, and also just super awesome to meet Christian, talk with him, and hopefully we can get a little bit more in depth the next time we have you on. But check out Fake It. They're super sick. Definitely a band that I've been trying to have on for a hot minute. So that they're important if I want them on. That they should be on here. So go check out The Family Name. It's a fantastic record. I really am surprised it's taken me this long to get around to listening to it, considering how hyped Jack has been about it. So go give that fucker a listen. It's so good. And I'm excited to potentially have something in the works with that coming up very soon. So check the links in the description to find out about Fake It, all of their music. Go check them out with Defeater, because the Defeater is sick and Fake It's sick. So I feel like two worlds colliding at the same moment. You should go check both of those bands out. And if you enjoyed this interview, make sure to share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And thanks, of course, to Christian of Fake It for coming on and chatting tonight.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. It was a lot of fun.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.